referral, but the majority side sees nothing wrong with this referral. Majority Leader Osachie Mensah Bonsu instead raises issue with the Privileges Committee's report coming to the floor of the House for a debate and a vote. He wants the decision of the committee to be final.
Speaker, so for you to say that when the determination has been made by the Committee of Privileges, it should come here for voting with the greatest respect, I disagree. That is not the intendment of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I'm fortified by the imperatives of Article 1771, 1125. And, of course, the one that you have I just quoted, 106.13. Speaker, that really should be what should commend itself to us. But we are all learning. We have heard you. The only disagreement that I have, Mr. Speaker, is submitting the report to Parliament for Parliament to vote on. That is not the intention of the Constitution. I thank you very much.
Ras Mubarak is former MP for Kumbungu and he joins us via Zoom. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Joy News Prime. So you petitioned the Speaker on 4 MPs. 3 of them have been referred to the Privileges Committee. Your reaction to this?
Well, I must, first of all, good evening to viewers. I must commend the Speaker of Parliament for the wisdom in bringing this to the floor of Parliament and for referring it to the Privileges Committee. I think we should all be guided by the Constitution and we should all be citizens. You know, there is nothing in the Constitution or the standing orders of Parliament that says an ordinary member of the public cannot submit a petition to Parliament for consideration. So I feel excited that the Speaker has taken steps to redeem somehow the image of Parliament, which is sunken. But there's no institution in Ghana, public or private, that would tolerate its members not, attending upon their work without justifiable, excuse. My disappointment, Ernest, I'm struggling to see the wisdom in the minority side deciding to challenge the Speaker's ruling. In the minority side, spirited attempt to defend Sarah Joseph and the question.
Well, you had the minority chief whip. He says, even though you're outside Parliament, you are a former MP and you know how to count properly if you indeed want to have this. You disagree with him?
No, there is nothing in the standing orders that say a member of the public, ought to submit a petition to a member of Parliament for onward transmittal to the Speaker of Parliament. Any Ghanaian who feels hard done by, who's unhappy about breaches of our Constitution has every right, to write to the Speaker directly, raising concerns about constitutional breaches relating to Parliament, and I disagree with him and I'm utterly disappointed in the leadership of the majority, to take the route that they have taken. I am of the view that it is not in the public interest, and I'm struggling to understand, what business the minority leader and the chief whip have in defending Sarah Joseph. These are 3 members of the MPP who have breached the rules of the House, who have violated the Constitution. And fundamentally, Ernest, the whip talks about the fact that a member of Parliament ought to be the one presenting the petition. And you ask yourself, what have they been doing all this while? Sleeping on the job? You have breaches of the Constitution. It's been 3 months, no action, simply because you have a system in Parliament of I scratch your back, you scratch my back, for which reason, people have to put a spirited defense of, one of their friends. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable and quite shocking.
What do you make of his defense that this opens the floodgates for all forms of petition in an era where you may have a speaker who will be simply autocratic and, of course, one-sided, very partisan, and would use that as a tool to hunt individual members of Parliament?
Well, that argument falls, flat. It's a very weak argument because you're making a point assuming that members of a privileges committee would have no minds of their own, to do the right thing in the best interest of God and in the best interest of country. An issue could be referred to the Privileges Committee to use its own argument, but MPs could decide otherwise. What I also find completely unacceptable is the prejudice of the work of the Privileges Committee by the whip. You heard him say that no member of the minority would, support such a move, at the Privileges Committee. It would be very, very unfortunate. It would feed into mistrust in Parliament on the minority benches that, look, they seem to be playing ball in Parliament. And I think the NDC as a political party ought to look at this seriously, and members of the NDC would have to take great exception, to these kinds of posturing, where, imagine, for instance, if it were the NDC that were caught in a situation like this, you think seriously the MPP, would be out there, trying to argue against a petition like that against members of the NDC? And so whose interest are they serving? If they are serving their own interest, then in the interest of their friends, they ought to let us know.
This has been referred. He says he will challenge it. We'll see how he does that with a motion. We'll follow up closely on that. But barring any, change, the committee is expected to present its report after the Easter break. Your expectation?
It is my fervent prayer, Ernest, and my hope that the fear of God and the love of country would prevail in a matter like this, where, people seem to have been completely out of touch with the reality. Ghanaians are expectant. Nobody wants to put up with a situation where MPs are absenting themselves. Now is a golden opportunity, a unique opportunity to deal with MPs who have decided not to play by the rules. And as this is not the first time this has happened, it's happened previously in other parliaments where attempts to even get this far had been had not been successful. So you would think that a move like this would be embraced wholeheartedly. But if you listen to the argument of the minority whip, there seems to be an attempt to protect MPs, than to protect the best interest of the public. And I think that is completely unacceptable.
Well, let's see how this pans out. I'm grateful that you could join us. That's Ras Mubarak, former MP for Kumbu.